In today's theme park experience, we are going to one of the most beautiful, magical, fantasy theme parks I have ever seen in Planet Coaster history. This park is absolutely sensational and might just get the award for the most interesting terrain used in this entire contest. And possibly an award for the best fantasy theme park. As you can see, these buildings, this castle, this magical kingdom has the highest quality of artistry that I have ever seen. It looks incredible, and I cannot wait to dive in deeper, so why don't we do just that? Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends! Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight Contest Edition. Today we're looking at Marlin's Wonderland, created by LukeWarzV, and here they say, let's go, Johnny! Welcome to Marlin's Wonderland. May I introduce you to my dear dragon pal, Marlon. Decades ago, Marlin III, a prosperous king, saw opportunity to grow his kingdom through war. The first quarter of the war, he and his soldiers were thriving, but the battle at Laystark, the tides had changed and started losing every battle. Oh my god, was Laystark his last creation? I believe so, if I remember correctly. Prince Marlin noticed how his family was in danger and decided to take action. Legend has it that there was a mountain, and deep in its center was a spot where you could cast any wish, but with a price. After weeks of looking for, Marlin was able to find the mountain and its cove, where the cave where the energy was overwhelming. Marlin wished to protect his family and create a wonderland that his family could live in. The cave spoke back. In order to the wish to be casted, Marlin had to sacrifice himself to the land. Marlin had no doubts and jumped in the lava, bringing his wonderland to fruition. From the land emerged a manor and a castle for his family to live, while the mountain rewarded Marlin for his bravery and selflessness by transforming him into a dragon to protect the land from invaders. 26 years later, King Malcolm III was tired of living on his own and invited everyone to visit Marlin's Wonderland to take a ride on the mountaintop, and that includes you. The only rule is to stay away from the manor or else face the wrath of Marlin. Inside the dungeon, you will find a connection to Marlin. Will you seek the corrupted memories of his transformation to discover the origin of the mountain and the powers he possesses? Good googly moogly. And he would like us to ride the manor in track view, the castle in look forward, Marlin's Nightmare in car 1C2. Also try out the Sacrificial spin in seat 1. FYI, I couldn't get any nighttime lighting in, so keep that in mind, and I did check for that in the B-roll and did notice that. All right, wow, really fun backstory, amazing looking theme park. Let's dive into it. Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at this incredible looking fantasy park, Marlin's Wonderland. This is the park entrance. Now, the creator had the time set to 1:15. Let's take a look at that once again, just so I can get a refresher. That looks pretty good too. Okay, we'll keep it here because that's what they had it set to. Marlin's patties, where you just take a piece of the dragon off and eat it. He growls. So, interestingly enough, this is something I want to discuss really quickly before I forget. And maybe we can show that off a little bit here. The way you face your park is on the backside of the sun cycle. Something to think about when you guys are building your park. Where is the sun facing? And figure that out right away, because there's no changing it later. Not to mention you have this giant dragon in the side here who casts a shadow over everything when the sun actually goes back here. I tried every single time of day, from the earliest of sunrise to the latest of day, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 a.m., 11. The sun never hits the park, ever. You get a little bit of light back there. And that is really, really, really unfortunate, because this park looks so beautiful that if it was just facing the other way, it would end up being the most beautiful park ever, because the way the sunlight works in this game, especially with reshade, you just get the most beautiful shadows and highlights. Because that sun is effectively hidden, everything becomes flat. It's almost like it's a cloudy day. And I'm so sad that you didn't check the sun cycle before making this park. So we might as well drink with the tears of Marlin for that awful mistake. At the end of the day, it's still beautiful, but you can see that here. See that lighting coming in and those shadows and the way it pops? And then we look over here. Not quite the same effect. Little bit unfortunate. So I guess you can learn from Marlin's mistakes, or I guess Luke's mistakes. And you guys can check that before making your parks. I can't figure out what the heck is going on here. Okay, we're going into the cave, I guess. There's an exit there. I could not see an entrance. Here lies the location Marlin sacrificed himself. Oh! That's a fun backstory. And you have, like, the swing in here. The sacrificial spin. Yeah, let's give that a go. Speed it up. Let's get this thing a swinging. Here we go. Outside we are. Inside we go. Oh, look at that. Now I can tell why you asked me to do seat 1 on this. This is really cool. I think this is the best use of the hammer swing throughout this entire contest. Like, look at the dragon's eye there, and it fits perfectly with your backstory. This is where he became the dragon, and then there's a glimmer of him there. I think that's really creative. Great, like, environmental storytelling. No guests. Oh, this is where, I mean, there's a guest coming out of there. Okay, no trespassing. We're doing something terribly wrong here. Last warning. I mean, they're not listening either. Look at the lighting here. This is what I'm talking about. If only the light was coming from this direction. It's too bad. LukeWars, I hope you learn from this mistake in the future. But your park is gorgeous, and that's why I'm crying inside, because I was like, oh, the lighting would make it so much better. That's a bit of a shame. I'll let it go, though. 1,888 meters long is the Escape Marlin's Manor. This is a big coaster. I clicked on it when I was looking around doing the B-roll accidentally, and this thing goes around the entire park. I mean, it is 2,000 meters long after all, so I'm just going to cut to it when it's ready. They have asked for track view. That's what we'll do. Let's get going. absolutely incredible. Through the dragon's mouth there. When everything went dark, it was a little bit messed up because of reshade there. We can see a little bit of behind the scenes that was not intentional. We go up this way, out of the manor. Very fun storytelling. We got to see how Marlin transformed. We got to see the dragon, a peek of the dragon's eye through the cave, and then we get to basically become one with the dragon, and I thought that was really nice. Look at this building here. See, we got that lighting hitting it. Look how incredible this looks. This is going to be the most beautiful side of the park because we have that light shining through. I love what you did with this gazebo. It's very artistic, super creative. This is some of the best fantasy I have ever seen. These builds are just incredible. So it looks like we have another coaster here. I believe it's a bobsled. It is. I don't think we've seen one in this contest, and if we do, I don't remember. So, or no, maybe there was one. Oh, it broke down. God damn it, LukeWars. Another point of feedback. You saved your park as a scenario. That means on all of my breakdown features do not apply here because your scenario is programmed to let things break down. So don't do the scenario thing in the future, people. Let's see if we can get a mechanic in here to fix our situation. So here's a look at the ride results of Marlin's Castle. 1,446 meters in length. It's quite the doozy. We're going to be going on this one alone because everyone got kicked off since it broke down. Marlin's Castle is a look forward, is what they requested. Let's do that. Off we go. Wow, beautiful. I really love that soft pastel violet color that you chose. And then you have hits of that throughout the build. And I think it's a really nice contrast from that dark red stuff that we saw down here with the dragon. And, you know, actually, now that I look at this, the light does hit this half of the castle. And I'm so glad that as we're going up that lift, we got to see all the vibrant sun shining through. And I was like, yes, this is what I was hoping for. This is where I didn't really get a good look at it when we were down below. It's all just a shadow casting over everything. And in some ways, that does do a bit of environmental storytelling in a happy accidental way, because this is where all the scary transformations of Marlin take place, and it's all under the belly of the shadows of the sun. And then you come up here and you have those beautiful pastel purples, and the sun is just hitting that, and it gives you this contrast of just beauty and elegance versus, you know, transformation and I guess a nightmare of some sort. It's really cool. So it kind of worked in your favor in that regards, although I would like the option to shine the light on the front of the castle just to get a better look at things. There should be one more main attraction for us somewhere here. There we go, Marlin's Nightmare. This would be the final ride. As we're gonna have to fly around the castle a little bit more towards the end, because let's see what this says first. Enter at your own will. You're going to get a taste of the corrupted memories Marlin sees when he is not protecting his Wonderland. All right, I don't think I have to switch it to night here because of the terrain is blocking that sun. It's looking really cool in reshade as well. Let's do a little flip toggle. See all those shadows pop. Really nice. Oh, maybe this was the long coaster that I saw. Okay, no, this one's 1,000 meters in length. I wasn't even aware of this one, to be honest. Interesting. So this is the Marlin's Nightmare. It's an inverted coaster. There's a look at the stats if you want to see them, and I'll cut to it when it's ready. Incredible. I love how this ties together the whole story, and I love the fact that you really depicted a nightmare through triggered events. That is not easy to do, to create some abstract emotional vibe through colors and sounds, but you managed to pull that off, and that is incredibly hard to do. So hats off to you for that. And I love we saw that sacrificial chamber. I mean, not the chamber, but I guess the temple of which he arrives to confront the thing that causes him to, the god or whatever, that gives a wish in turn of a sacrifice, and he has a dream, a memory of that moment. And then right after, we visit the room of which he sacrificed himself in, and I think it just tells a really good story, and how he's reliving that nightmare, and all the things that are, you know, going through your mind in a nightmare are really hard to convey, and somehow you manage to convey that on a coaster. And again, the contrast between those kind of cryptic nightmare and then the dragon ride and the hammer swing compared to the bobsled. There's just a lot of yin and yang happening here, not to mention just beautiful architecture and artistry. These are some of the best buildings in fantasy I've ever seen. I often say that the castles in Planet Coaster are the hardest to make. You have to think outside the box, because you can see some of these pieces here are being used, and these little columns are being used, but then boom, 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 extra decorations, extra trim, extra fencing, extra trim here. It's not just like, it's layers upon layers. And if I were to do anything fantasy, I would probably download this park and pick this apart and piece this apart to figure out exactly how you made these buildings so interesting. It's a little bit fatter at the top, but it slowly gets narrower, and it kind of has all this shape to it and extra trim and details that just really make it stand out from the other stuff that I've seen, where nothing has a hard edge and everything has some sort of really nice artistic trim work done. And you know, even here, like layers and archways and extra windows and more archways, and it's really comes together quite nicely. I also like how a lot of these caps are circular in shape, but they're not plain, you know, they're jutting in and out of other rectangular shapes. The rectangular shapes over here are still rounded, and it's surrounded with that flowing circular bobsled just makes it such a nice choice. When I talk about this in the past about people choosing coasters that are themed towards their park, and that choice of coaster often is very impactful and important, and I think you chose the right coaster here, and this has got to be the best bobsled in the contest, and definitely deserving of an award for that if I remember by the time we get to the end. Yeah, this is incredible, and you did a very interesting terrain work. I mean, not interesting, but phenomenal, but interesting in the fact that this is your border and everything makes it feel so much bigger. We said you could terraform and paint outside, but nothing else. You use that opportunity to create an island, a moat, and a dragon, and that is beyond anything that we've seen so far in this contest. But what's interesting about it is that the mountain, the dragon are kind of overhanging the rest of the park, so that you don't really have to worry about the backside here. You got to create everything from a diagonal perspective. This is the park right here. We're not really paying attention to anything back here, and that goes back to that smart way of design. Only build what you need to see. By doing that choice, you didn't have to really focus too much on the back, and nor was it important. But also, we said we would like you to try and fill up your park as much as possible, and in theory, if we would have flattened this map out, there's a good portion here. If we compare it to last year's contest, there's a good chunk of this park right here that actually is last year's size, but it's not even noticeable. Like, yes, there's all this space that's kind of gone to waste, but it's not wasted. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. You utilize your space really creatively, but also made a super intricate park. And this is one of the ones where it's like, okay, we have 3 coasters, but it doesn't need any more because there's so much awe-inspiring stuff to look at. And it was a great pace. We just started here, we got to look at everything, and we worked our way up. My only gripe is that I wish the sunlight could hit this side so I could get a nice thumbnail. That's me being greedy. But, you know, this side is just absolutely gorgeous. If next time you build your park, the dragon, in theory, should have been here, facing that way. And then that way, the sun would have gone over the whole park. Or wait, I guess the dragon would have been here. And then the sun could have hit all sides of the park. So that you could choose to hit this or hit this. So, something to note for next time. Other than that, I really can't say anything else. I also like how the castle is divided into 2 sides. Like I said, there's a happy accident with this side being kind of covered in shadows, but the artistic work on the castle is completely different than that of above, and it has this kind of grim Dark Knight vibe to it that I really like. So yeah, anyone doing fantasy, take notes from this, use this as inspiration. This is some of the best I've ever seen. Really well done. Okay, give it up for LukeWars, everybody. What did you think of this amazing creation? Did you enjoy it just as much as I did? Fire away down in the comments below. That was Marlin's Wonderland, and that is going to do it for me in today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.